Sorry, I didn't mean for that to sound rude. So my name is Casey Heat. I'm the Academic Vice President of Binghamton Town Council, and I'm also putting this event together with Jonathan, Melissa, Corey, and I have planned this discussion for all of you today, and very much appreciate your support. I want to also thank DTC for providing the funding for our refreshments this evening, and you are all welcome to go enjoy them at the back table. Just a brief outline of how we plan tonight to go. First, we'll have a brief presentation showing Sodexo's ideas for the coming years of their newly renewed contract. Then we will give the panel a chance to react to the ideas and answer some other questions I have for them. We'll be handing surveys out. They're in the back table for you, so you can get a chance to ask your own questions, and those surveys will go directly to Sodexo management. The purpose of this event is to encourage student voice in their dining experience and to kickstart a change for the constant improvement of campus dining. My group and I are not advertising ourselves here for Sodexo or against Sodexo. We're just simply hosting a public venue so that you guys can share your thoughts. I'm going to shut up now and welcome Lewis from the SEC to present Sodexo's ideas for the next coming years.
Should I use the mic, or is this cool? Cool. So I'm part of the SEC. I'm the Chief of Environmental and Social Responsibility. The SEC is the Student Culinary Council, and that's basically a formal platform for students to voice their concerns, comments, suggestions, questions to Sodexo. And it was started, maybe a year and a half ago. So it's relatively new, and it's a meeting that happens every other week on Thursdays from 8 to 9. And a few Sodexo employees show up, the general manager, Jim Roth, as well as the head of residential dining. His name is John Enright, and there's also Pete Napolitano, who's head of auxiliary services. And auxiliary services is the Binghamton administration section that oversees Sodexo's contract. So it's kind of like, a meeting that happens every other week to kind of do exactly what this meeting is doing, sort of. And a lot gets done. We recently changed all of the dining halls burgers to New York State beef patties, so that's one thing that goes on. There's other small things that happen, like changing in dining hall hours of operation. If someone had a really dirty spoon and they wanted to complain about it, they could at this meeting. And a lot of stuff like that does happen. But it's really productive. And so what I have here is, I guess I'll say Sodexo's contract ended this year, and they were the only food service company to give in a bid for the next contract. So they're probably going to get it because they're the only company. And this book is basically their bid book. It basically says what they are going to offer us for the next 10 years, because that's how long their contract will be renewed for. And there's a lot of nice, fancy promises, and it's more of like, this is what we can get done if you guys want it. It's not what's going to happen. So I think that while you listen to me, just realize that this isn't stuff that, most of the stuff is not actually going to happen, but it would if you pushed for it. And there's a lot of kind of what I consider BS, but there's a lot of interesting things too, and it really seems like they're trying to please everyone, and that's both good and bad, because some of it is just words to me, but let's see. Something interesting I read in here was that Sodexo, the Dow Jones Sustainability Indexes named Sodexo the global sustainability leader for the 10th consecutive year. So that was kind of something that didn't shock me, because Sodexo's practices, I don't know how familiar everyone is with Sodexo. Some people dislike them for many reasons, and I think we're going to touch upon some of those reasons, but it's interesting to also see that they are recognized as one of the most sustainable. And it's like, oh man, that is what sustainable is. But at the same time, it's awesome to have that company here. So let me jump through. There's so many pretty days. Some of the things they have in line, or what they were thinking, and some of them are pretty crazy. They got pictures in here too, so if anyone wants to see. In College in the Woods, they are going to completely they're going to renovate it, make it look all nice. There's a nice picture here. They're planning on putting a greenhouse in there, and they want to grow microgreens and herbs, which is pretty intense. And I don't know how possible that is, but that's something they suggested. As well as changing the format of the dining hall to all-you-can-eat buffet instead of a la carte. A la carte is you pay for every item you purchase, and in this you would pay like $10 and you'd go in, maybe 10 is just a random number, but and then you could eat as much as you want. This was something that was actually decided upon last SCC meeting. There's going to be a Guy Fieri. Is everyone familiar with Guy Fieri's like Food Network star with the spiky police chair? They're putting in a restaurant themed, a Guy Fieri themed restaurant in C4, and I saw the menu. It looks interesting. If you're a vegetarian, it really sucks, and if you like healthy food, it sucks, but if you like what, I guess, maybe not me, but people could perceive as tasty food, then yeah, it might be good. It's a little gimmicky, but I think, whatever, that's what they're putting in. Then it looks like Boar's Head. Boar's Head sponsored deli as well in C4. And there's pictures of it, and it's a whole new layout. I wish I had a projector to show you guys. And then they have in here, which kind of conflicts with what has been going on in the SCC. They want to take out Holy Habanero and put in a Be Healthy inspired restaurant. And if anyone doesn't know what Be Healthy is, it's kind of a campus initiative to get more healthy lifestyles, get everyone on a healthier lifestyle. But there was different talk at the SCC meetings, and that's kind of very open. So if anyone has any ideas of what could go there, that'd be awesome. And they could come to the meetings, or they can tell me right now, and I'll say it at the meeting. But they're really looking for suggestions. There's also a Dunkin' Donuts going in the University Union, possibly, and this is just another chain establishment. There's also a Subway and a Starbucks possibly going into the Hinman Cafe downstairs. So a lot of, they're trying to introduce a lot of chain franchises. I guess that's what some people are into. I would like to see, healthier options, maybe some more local establishments, and they're trying to incorporate that as well. But they're kind of also doing the international chain thing. They also have advertised in here some of their more sustainable kind of goals, and they mentioned seasonal food from acres, but that is kind of misleading because that food is only served once a year because acres does not provide that much food at all. So for them to advertise themselves as sustainable and use that as an example could be a little misleading, but that is something that they advertise. So it's kind of, they aren't picking a side whether they want to bring healthier, more sustainable options or kind of these international chains. They're trying to do it both and please both people. And I think people that like, their Starbucks and their Dunkin' Donuts don't really care whether there's sustainable options or not, but people that like the sustainable options, I guess, are very displeased by the chain options. So I think that's what they're trying to do, but they're also trying to gauge what people want. And the SCC is a great opportunity for people to come out who have kind of an opinion on what they want or the student body wants. So people should definitely come out if they have an opinion. And you can definitely come see me if you want to see these pictures. They're pretty nice. Just kind of the layout of what they're going to change CIO. I know CIO is going through a whole renovation beyond the dining hall. So yeah, cool.
Yes, thank you. So I actually went to the proposed plan. They had a public presentation, not that many people knew. And it was quite interesting. They're not able to really answer questions. I asked them to be here today, and they politely declined. These plans sound amazing. Like, we love Dunkin' Donuts, we love Starbucks. Renovating CIW sounds cool. I can't live off donuts. They made sure that after they gave this presentation that these are just ideas. So I don't know if it's going to happen. It would be cool. It'd also be cool to have some more healthy food, because I know for some vegans and vegetarians it's hard to have options. So I guess the audience has a question or comment.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How can you say that you're weighing healthy options and giving the people what they want, like Dunkin' Donuts, in the same way? As an educational institution, aren't they also looking out for like the safety and health of their students? Shouldn't one be way more than the other?
Yes, but I don't think that that is something that the university should step in and seriously consider whether they want that as opposed to Dunkin' Donuts. And I guess Dunkin' Donuts isn't necessarily unhealthy, but sorry for them that I'm using them as the example. But I really think that Sodexo is just trying to please the most amount of people, and they're not directly concerned about what is healthy and what isn't. They're concerned about how many people are happy. So it's really just based on what they perceive that we want. These are Sodexo's plans, not the university. So if the university wants healthier options, then they should really step in. And a lot of what I'm doing on campus involves getting the university involved in healthier options.
So you're part of Sodexo's committee, not the university?
I am part of, and I guess I'll get into this later, but I'm part of the VU Food Sustainability Group, which is primarily a student organization, but we also work with a national nonprofit called the Real Food Challenge, and that kind of forms, within that game plan is the formation of a group that includes Sodexo students and administration. So it's kind of like a three-pronged effort. So right now I'm mostly student and working with Sodexo and administration, but hopefully eventually what I'm part of is, and it already is blossoming into a kind of joint effort between those three parties. So I definitely don't represent Sodexo, but I also don't represent the administration.
You guys.
So as a student, you see that there isn't like you're not dying to have a contractor serve food. Like there are great universities out there. For instance, UMass Amherst is probably the second best university in the nation. They do it all in-house. Right. So is there any at all in trying to eventually get rid of contractors and do it all in-house and have these employees become university employees and not part of the contract?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone else wants to answer that after me, I think there's huge interest from the students, but I think, and I think we all realize that larger universities are doing this on their own successfully, better than us. But I think for a few reasons, we aren't doing that, university run is not necessarily better, because we still are needing to use the kind of conventional agricultural practices that the third parties use, or the contract companies use. But I know that at one point, I think in the 80s, the university did have their own, were doing it themselves and they failed miserably, so there might be a little bit of a like, yeah, exactly, because they don't want to fail again. But that is the goal, because that way we can, make more decisions.
You can copy those infrastructure, right? The way they do things.
That'd be great. Yeah, through the Real Food Challenge, we do have a good connection with UMass, and we are talking with them, but the administration is pretty set on Sodexo.
So you're not optimistic?
Not within this bidding process. I think, I hope eventually it happens, but I'm not really concerning myself with that because I know Sodexo is going to get it, and I know their contract lasts for 10 years, and I know I'm only here for a semester after this. So.
Well, as we're getting into what you guys do outside of this discussion, I'd like to ask everyone on the panel to introduce themselves and give a brief intro to, if you're here for a food-related organization, please tell us some of what you do there. And if you just have your own personal interest that you would like to talk about, that would be awesome as well. Just like your name, major, and your year here, and whatever else you'd like to add. So if you want to start, well, Lewis, you kind of talked already, but if you have anything else you'd like to add.
I'll let Dorothy introduce the Real Food Challenge and buffs so that she can talk and I can stop. But my name is Lewis Vassar-Semanchik. I'm a senior bio major with an NBio minor, and other than this stuff, you're asking about personal interests. I don't know, my band is playing for Spring Fling. We're opening up. Prime Ordeal, check us out. You got it.
I'm Dorothy. I'm a senior. I'm an environmental science major, and I'm the president of IDEAS, which is Intellectual Decisions for Environmental Awareness Solutions. And we started a group, BUFS, VU Food Sustainability Group, this past semester. And we've been working with Sodexo to get more food sustainable options, things that are local, so grown within 150 miles, organic, fair trade, or humane to animals. And I think these basically encompass all people, whether or not you're some granola-loving person or somebody who cares about human rights. It really fits everything. So when people say that this is only important to some small class of people, it's just really the point of getting everybody to realize we're all a part of food and the decisions we make influence everybody. So we're really going for something that's sustainable, not just ecologically, but socially as well.
Hi, I'm Tegan. I'm a sophomore, integrative neuroscience major. I'm representing the Binghamton Food Allergies Network. We are currently in the process of getting chartered by the SA. As you can tell by the name, a lot of it is awareness of students with food allergies or special dietary restrictions. So it's a place where students can come and learn about resources that they can find on campus, kind of a peer mentoring service, and also an outreach program to people in the community, people in the university, staff at the university, to increase awareness of food allergies and dietary restrictions.
I'm Jack. I don't really represent any food organization, but I'm kind of here. I'm a cinema major and creative writing major. I'm in DTC, and I'm the academic vice president of Bright Views. So I just am a concerned student and have a few points to bring up. So that's why I'm here.
And I'm Jamila Gordon. I'm a junior double major in psychology and vocal performance, concentration in opera. I also I'm beyond that, and I'm just here to talk about like what we need as vegetarians, not just people who don't eat meat, but anyone who actually wants to go ahead and live a healthy lifestyle, which I don't think Sodexo is very conducive of. So I'm here to talk about that.
Thank you, guys. So I'm going to ask you guys just a couple questions, and you're welcome to react to them and talk to, discuss with each other about your ideas to these questions. So, what do you think about the ideas that Sodexo has for the future? Like, what do you like and dislike about their possible plans? Jamila, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. As he was mentioning, I do like the idea that they're trying to bring healthy things to campus, but I'm not really sure what that entails because I know that this year they've been opening up a Meatless Monday and just all of these other healthy things, and I feel like for Sodexo, healthy just means pasta. And I don't really know how I feel about that, but about the whole Dunkin' Donuts equals the number of food, I think that would be appealing to some students, but again, it's hard to go ahead and try and please every single student here because I mean this is a fairly sized university, and I think that a lot of people do try and lead healthy lifestyles here, and I think having the option of fast food or whatever actually makes it more difficult, in my opinion, for people to actually try and go ahead with that. But I do like the idea of, trying to open up, expand, and make like a buffet style, thing in CW. But I do hope that they will actually try and, do what they say with including people, and maybe, I don't know, have both, or just not spend one specific day on like, okay, we're just gonna have a bunch of junk today, and then not anything else for anyone else to eat. So.
A lot of things he was saying, and I was listening to it, and I was kind of skeptical because I've been here for 2 years, and they've said a lot of stuff was going to happen, and they changed their mind so much. So it's kind of hard to trust like a big company like that because they don't really, not that they don't care, but they don't really care in a way. Yeah, that makes sense. But so I like some of the ideas they had, and some of the ideas I would get behind because it's a big campus and a big community. So if you had people that wanted Dunkin' Donuts, I'm sure a lot of people would enjoy that over Jasmine's, which I'm not a coffee drinker, but I'm sure that Dunkin' Donuts at Starbucks is a lot better. So I feel like trying to please everybody will work in a way, but it won't work because you can't please everybody. It's impossible to. So I feel like they should focus on either doing one thing or the other because that you can't do two things at once. It's impossible to do two things at once effectively. So yeah, that's what I thought.
I think the move to go to, I guess, more corporate food can have both positives and negatives. It's kind of hard to believe Sodexo's proposal that they're trying to be in the best interest of the students and then also give what the students want. They are a money-making corporation, just like this college itself is. If it wasn't, we'd all be going here for free. So going towards more corporate foods would be helpful in the sense that students would be able to look up and access the calorie and nutrition information of the foods a lot easier. Here, their website does offer it sometimes, but it's not very user-friendly and it's also very limited. So in terms of students that are either watching their nutrition or have special dietary restrictions, it would give them a little bit more control over what they were able to eat. However, like Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks don't necessarily seem like the better corporate options, Subway maybe, for students to be able to do this.
I think Subway was actually a part of the plan in Hindman, so that is something.
Yeah, better option.
C-store.
Yeah.
Sodexo has enough money where they're able to every so often just like tear down all of the signs for one restaurant and then put up some new ones and think that people, like, while they weren't looking, some major transformation happened. But we all know that they just reinvented the same ingredients, and it's like, this is a bunch of BS. Like, you can't just like keep flipping signs and expect people to be satisfied. Like, they really need to, like, if they're gonna do anything, they should be transforming where their food is sourced from, and those should all be responsible things. Otherwise, you know, like, you're just giving yourself a pat on the back for changing the labels, like nothing was accomplished. So I think that if Sodexo is to do anything, it needs to be under the pressure of students who are the ones who are paying them. You know, you vote with your dollars, and people need to go out and say, we need this, this, and this. Because right now it's just chaos. It's just like, oh, like some people want this, and some people want this, so maybe we'll do this, and maybe we'll do that. But if there was one solid student voice that said, actually, we all want this, then Sodexo would be like, oh, are you paying us? Yes, then we will do it. You know, like, that's what I think.
Yeah, definitely. Sodexo, yeah, they're definitely a money-making operation, and with that and partnering with, you know, Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, they can, you know, they're guaranteed certain deals with these large corporations that the smaller operations cannot guarantee Sodexo. So Sodexo saves money by working with these larger operations because they're guaranteed a cheaper cost in getting them in. And if there isn't a big voice saying no, then Sodexo's going to push it because it's a name brand that people will buy because they trust, and people are not really protesting it. So yeah, let's save money and make, you know, profit because people will buy it. So. And even though like our voice is loud, it may not be the majority, and I think that that's an issue with the education of the students, and not necessarily an issue with Sodexo because they are not really ethically run or economically run. So I think a large part of the transition needs to be, you know, student education, and you know, we're here talking about this. Sodexo is pretty receptive. You know, they have set up the Student Culinary Council, and they do listen to us there somewhat. And I mean, in response to the vegetarian, yeah, I agree. They definitely do not cater to vegetarians and vegans. But at the vegan station, I am pretty friendly with Ryan, who cooks there now, and he didn't know about nutritional yeast. And he didn't know about vitamin B12 and how vitamin B12 is necessary for brain function, and it's only found in meats. You know, so vegetarians need to really focus in on this vitamin in order to get it. And nutritional yeast is one way. They kind of enrich it. They get vitamin B12 from bacteria and then add it to the nutritional yeast. I told him about this. He was like, oh, cool. The next time I went there, he was serving vegan mac and cheese that contained nutritional yeast. So they are somewhat, you know, receptive. We just need to be very loud, and we also need to educate the students because I feel like there are a lot of issues that we all know about, you know, the few of us, but the general population just doesn't really know about, and thus doesn't care, and thus like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts.
I almost want to kind of answer your answer there. I mean, I feel like Sodexo, especially with the vegan stations, does a great job of like introducing something and then really quickly just it falls off. If you have ever been there in the past maybe 2 weeks, it's probably wheat pasta every day, and yeah. I mean, you can't really do so much with that. I mean, they do have, you know, a few good things sometimes, and I noticed that at first when they first introduced it, it was, you know, it was pretty good. Like, they did a lot there, but I think it's just been getting less and less, and by default, it's just wheat pasta and sauce, and that's just very dissatisfying. And then you go to the entrees, and also it's not even just about non-meat items, it's like protein, like you were saying, like there are things that you need to, you know, sustain your health. And if you're living straight from campus food, that doesn't really happen a whole lot. If you just go to dining hall, you can't really find anything besides, I don't know, like asparagus and pasta like, all the time.
Yeah, Sodexo doesn't know what the body needs if you're a vegetarian. And if you are a vegetarian, you need to be somewhat of a nutritionist because you need to know what you're getting because you can't just eat pasta. And so really just like giving suggestions to them, I would say, but you know, why isn't there a vegan station in every dining hall? You know, why is it only CIW?
So I'm going to take a bit of a radical turn. According to a report by Corporate Watch completed in 2004, Sodexo manages for-profit prisons in the UK and Austria and has some type of involvement with around 91 prison facilities, including prison in the UK and Austria, but also in France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, the Netherlands, and most recently Chile. Sodexo holds 10% of private prison beds outside of the US. How do you guys feel that the same corporation who is providing us food is also having stake in prisons, where it is a corporation that punishes people, is the same corporation that's promoting our education? Do you think this should have weighed in the university's decision to renew the contract? Whoever wants to start.
I would be surprised if the university was somehow involved in private prisons too. For anyone that doesn't know what a private prison is, I won't really describe it, but I will say that they make money based on how many inmates they have. So the more inmates they have, the more money they make, essentially, right? Sort of, basically. So that's the problem here. And I think it's just choosing the least of the evil options. You know, Sodexo is doing this terrible thing, yet the other people we have to choose from, mainly two other large international food service corporations, Aramark and Compass Group, are really no better and usually often worse. So is there a choice to be made there? It's just a really unfortunate fact about this company. And it goes back to just doing it ourselves instead, because that's the best.
I agree with Lewis, but once again, the university is, like Sodexo, for profit. We have like $3 million invested in fossil fuels, and when posing the question whether or not the university should divest from fossil fuels, their response is, we would lose 1% of our profit, so that's not really a good option for us. So, do I think that the university should have weighed in against using these prison, workers? Yes, but maybe that's just too idealistic. But here we have a room full of, young, educated people. You guys are all going to be working someday, in society, and you have to start weighing in now. Is that going to be my political belief that money is more important than, treating people like they're equal?
Yeah, I don't really know if there's anything much else that I can add. Money is one of those motives that unfortunately seems to be the be-all and end-all. It makes all other ethical thoughts, moral thoughts, or when it comes to nutrition or for the greater good, it's kind of just seen like a utopia that just isn't going to happen, which that is something that is going to continue much well after we end up graduating. But like what was said before, even though money can be the evil, it can also be the force of driving a greater good. We can use their motive of money in order to decide how we are going to end up spending that money, whereas the people in the private prisons do not have that choice. So that's something that we can actually take into our own hands.
I think those are all great ideas. What kind of food options would you guys like to see that you haven't seen?
I'll start off. I would like to see more variety, because in every station you get the same 3 things over and over and over again, and anyone can notice it after the first week, 2 weeks of being here. You're like, oh, that was there last week. You should get more than just at simple servings in C4. It's either chicken, turkey, or fish, and that's it. And it's the same 3 things over and over again. And eating healthy doesn't mean you have to just eat one thing. It shouldn't be, and all the vegetables are the same too. And they're the same boiled broccoli, boiled spinach, or something like that. So I'd want to see something that, be a little creative with it. Because personally, I cook a decent amount. I cook a decent amount, and you can make healthy food and make it something that tastes good, not boiled broccoli, not boiled spinach. It loses like it loses a lot of nutrients it has, and it loses like pretty much all the flavor it has, and it's just there. And no, like I know it sounds but I'd like more like variety, because you see the same thing over and over and over again. Once you get to the end of the semester, you don't even want to eat there, and I'm sick of it. I live on campus next year again, and that's one of the worst things about living on campus is the food next year. Like that's one of the things that's bringing my experience down. Food.
Yeah, I don't know if I would really add anything. I would just kind of want more of what they have sometimes, very rarely. I guess in my case, but just more like tofu and soy-based protein products. For not just, I don't want to just label vegetarians and vegans, but just anybody who is open and willing to eat protein products that are not made of meat. And also I think that there should always be options for something healthier, such as if there's white rice, they should also be serving brown rice or quinoa or some kind of other grain. Also, night owl is a really big issue with that. I can't tell you how many times I go there and can't get wheat bread. It's actually kind of ridiculous. Just something in terms of, especially night owl, I think they should also have a sandwich bar or something where you don't have to go and eat mozzarella sticks if you're feeling hungry at night, and that involves close so early, so you need something like that. So I just think, like I said, more non-meat protein options, but not to say that that should take away from, meat eaters actually want to. Definitely, like, they should still have that, but just more for everyone to have, I guess.
I agree with that, especially with the night owl. For some reason, Sodexo and a lot of other companies do this too. They think that when you have dietary restrictions, you want the types of foods that are friendly to your diet that are also really bad for you. So, in like C4, most of the food that's available that is gluten-free, dairy-free, and so on are like muffins and cookies and brownies, which is great. Those are, okay, they don't taste that good, but I mean, they'll do. But that's not a dinner. That's not a lunch. And then you end up getting the same type of salad or the same type of boiled vegetables 7 days a week. And like the night owl, unfortunately, late night eating is a college experience. That's what you do. Like, you cannot eat a cheeseburger at 3 o'clock in the morning after you graduate. I mean, I guess you can, but then it's kind of frowned upon. And that's something that people with dietary restrictions can't be a part of. I am lactose-free and gluten-free, and I go to Night Owl and I watch my friends eat ice cream. How hard would it to be just to put like a tub of soy ice cream or even sorbet that would be marketable to other students that don't have dietary restrictions, so that kids that can be included in that college experience?
I really hope that any problems that people have, please come to the student culinary council meeting. There aren't enough people there who have important things to say. Really, a lot of times it's people that have concerns. So I love these concerns, and I really want you guys to come to the student culinary council meetings to raise these.
Lewis, after the event, if you want to create a sign up to add people to your listserv, that would be awesome if anyone's interested. I've started going, and I found out a lot just from going the past couple weeks. So we can do that after we're done.
And then, as far as food I want to see on campus, quickly, the Real Food Challenge. What real food is food that's either, Dorothy said it, local, ecologically sound, humanely raised, or fairly traded. And there's a whole detailed list of the definitions of what each of those mean. And whether it's a certification or whether it's a mileage away from here. And our goal is to get 20% real food by 2020. And we're working very hard with Sodexo and the administration and the Real Food Challenge organization to make this happen. Because I think that those options would broaden what Sodexo offers and, help out all the people that want to see something different, something else, and something more ethical.
What I'd like to see that's different is an actual face of like who was involved with your food preparation. Because like, what if it is a bunch of prison workers maybe you would know then that they're not being treated right. What if it was a bunch of slaves working in coffee farms, you know, like, then we would at least know very real things that happen in our food industry, and because we don't see them, they can just keep happening. So why not just make it a goal to have transparency?
Yes.
The one thing I'd really like to see is, a lot of the times I'm in the dining hall and I see like the prices of things, and it doesn't really make sense to me at all, because our meal plan is based off the idea that everything is supposed to be at a discounted price. So how do you get a sandwich at the dining hall that costs $8 when you can go to an actual deli and get a better sandwich for $8, for like less than $8? Like, that doesn't make sense to me at all. And all the healthy options. The healthy options are more expensive than the pizzas, and the pizza's 16, like, pizza's fine every once in a while, but you can't eat pizza every single day. And I want more healthy options that are cheaper, because if you keep buying the healthy options over and over again, your meal plan is dead by the end. Like, I'm working with $50 right now on my meal plan. There's still like 2 weeks left of school. And have the meal plan set up, so I just did the math randomly. So this Sodexo on their website says there's 16 weeks in the semester, and you're supposed to eat to maintain a healthy lifestyle 3 times a day. So, granted, not everybody eats 3 times a day. I eat like twice a day if I'm lucky. So that's 16 times 7, because there's 7 days in a week, and then times 3. So you're supposed to eat 336 times throughout the semester. And then this average meal plan is a C meal plan. So that's $896. So you take 896 and divide it by 336, and you get $2.67 is how much your average meal should cost. And how many times, raise your hand if your average meal costs less than $2.60. Nobody, right? So when I was like, and if you get a single piece of chicken, that costs you like $2.50 itself. So, or if you get a sandwich, $8, that's 3 meals right there. So how they're running it and how much it costs, it doesn't make sense at all, because if you're spending on one thing and you're wasting 3 extra meals on that, it's basically, they're setting themselves up to make even more money off of it, because you have to refill your meal plan over and over again. And there's already the base fee on top of that, which is like $1,300, I think. So it's crazy how you like, it's supposed to be cheap, but it's really not when you think about it. Only certain things are cheap, which are the unhealthiest options. They're promoting unhealthy eating. So that's going against everything that they're saying. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I like totally agree with the financial side of that. I don't really know a whole lot about like the financial foundation on that, but I do know that we pay about $2,000 for like the standard meal plan. We only get like 900, 800. So I'm guessing like that's how it gets subsidized. I'm sure there's like other stuff that goes along with it, but yeah, like you can't really get anything healthy for that price. And I guess this is just kind of an idea, but I think that they should actually like put up signs that should tell you like where you kind of should be by the end of the week or something like that, just so that you don't just blow all your money and then by the end you have to end up giving up like $300.
There is something like that, where you can see where you're supposed to be at a certain point. And I'm sorry, Dorothy and I have to excuse ourselves. We have a prior.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it.
I'm taking the place.
Lovely Jonathan is going to come up.
I'll introduce myself in a second.
So earlier today, when we were planning the event, Jonathan got in a fight with a Sodexo worker. So that's why his face is bruised.
I'm Jonathan Ortiz, and this is actually my event. And to cover for the 2 people going to their prior event, I'm going to be discussing as well. I'm a senior. That's it.
So I think Jack's breakdown of the economics with the meal plan was quite interesting. I never spend $2 on a meal. Maybe if I get a bagel. That's pretty crazy. I know that I asked them, why are the sandwiches so expensive when you can get a sandwich like at the same price in the real world that's unsubsidized, and their answer to me was, we cannot disclose that information. So there is a lot of, I would say, for lack of a better word, sketchiness with Sodexo as far as them providing this information. Another question I would have for you guys is, so it's just a fact. According to a 2011 Trans Africa report from Tulane University, in the United States, many Sodexo workers report that they earn so little they qualify for federal anti-poverty programs and are actively denied requests for overtime. Is this a problem that you personally see? Should this as well have been taken into consideration when the university decided to renew their contract? I know personally, I see the same worker in there every single time I go in there, and he's like 80-year-old man. He's the nicest man I've ever met, but he is always there. He's like Sodexo Ed. He gave me a Chinese fan last night. Told me I was special, but he is there every night. So what do you guys feel? Do you feel like they're overworked?
I mean, I feel that people in the food industry are often paid very low wages, especially people in the McDonald's and fast food industry. So it is very common, and I don't think Sodexo stands out as being the evil person in that. But I think the fact that they do actively deny overtime for their workers is a problem, because if somebody's willing to put in the work to get paid more, and then they scheme a way so that they can't put in that extra work and the option is there, I think that's wrong, and I think that should have been taken into consideration. I think Sodexo's treatment of their workers should be taken into consideration when the university signed their contract.
Yeah, I'd agree to that. I feel like whenever I go to a different dining hall or wherever I go to C4, there's either there's the two types of Sodexo workers. There's the ones that are really nice and really friendly, or the ones that'll give you an attitude and just be mean to you the whole time. And there's if you treat your workers right, they'll be happier and they'll project themselves and be proud of what they do. And I feel like a lot of the people that work there, they don't take pride in what they do. And I feel like that's an important part of any workplace, because this is a workplace for them. But a lot of the time, either you'll find the ones that you really like and that are really nice, and then if you encourage, if you promoted a better workplace and made things easier for them, they would project themselves as happier and friendlier to the students. And I sympathize with them a lot of the time, because at Night Owl, they have to deal with all these people, and I understand. I worked in food places since I was 14 years old, and I dealt with customers. So but having to deal with drunk people every night, I'm sure it gets annoying, and I'm sure sometimes people lose their cool. But if they promoted a better workplace environment, I feel like all of Sodexo and all the goals that they were trying to achieve, I feel like that's one of the most important things to achieve in setting up that.
Yeah, I totally think that it should be taken into consideration whenever the university is contracting them, because you kind of are supporting something if you're going to hire them to come into your university and serve food to the students here. And obviously Sodexo is one of the places that actually hires people who are not really marketable for other jobs. So I think it would be nice again to have a good workplace and just reasonable pay. If they're meeting the poverty line, that's kind of ridiculous actually. And obviously they're working with students, because we go there, we eat there, and if they're grumpy, not having a good day or whatever, and they're getting paid really crappy, that kind of does affect how they make the food, how they serve the food, and all this other stuff. So I think that should actually be taken into consideration before we actually go ahead and pay back here.
I personally worked for Sodexo last year. They pride themselves on hiring some people that are low income, don't have the best opportunities, but a lot of the time I would say these people have some sort of disability. This is a very highly physically demanding job, and they're not exactly happy to be working these long hours with drunk, annoying college kids late at night, especially at Night Owl. So I think that is a problem. Did someone have a question, comment up there?
Oh yeah, I was actually talking to a worker a little while ago, just yesterday, and he was talking about how the university isn't doing enough for the community. And I said, well, they hire a lot of workers coming out of Endicott and Johnson City and Binghamton, and he said that they're not really doing much of anything for them. He said that they're placing them kind of in a dead end, really. So it's kind of like a exploitation. It doesn't really give any kind of longevity to what people are trying to do with that career. It's just a place to be so that you're not hungry. And so I'm thinking, you guys were talking about the lack of overtime. Is that done on a basis so that they hire more employees and then give them all less hours, and then that way they could say they hire more people in the community? Is that the basis for them limiting their overtime?
Personally,
When Lewis was here, but
yeah, I'm sorry about that. I could personally get that answer for you if you want. I am in contact with the Sodexo management when they feel like answering my question. Sorry, I'm a little salty about that. So I'm not sure. Like, I would think maybe if they're paid overtime, if they get an overtime price, like higher pay, that would be a reason why they wouldn't let them, and they could just hire more people because they pay them less. So that would make sense to me. Like I said, that's something I'd have to look into. One more question, and then we can turn it to the audience, some questions you might have as far as like us being able to answer them, or we could just discuss more things you guys are concerned about. With the things we discussed, what do you guys think are the biggest strengths and weaknesses of Sodexo? John, you want to take that over?
Yeah, I can think about it for a second.
Okay.
I think their biggest weakness is that I don't think they really do take advice from the student body. I think that our voices are often unheard. Since freshman year, I've seen the same kids. I've seen each grade come in and complain about the same things that I complained about when I was a freshman. The prices, like he complained about, the lack of variety, the lack of flavor, and being workers, I think. So I think that's the biggest weakness, that they are good at changing their facade, but they don't actually change their structure of their company.
Yeah, I would have to say that from somebody with dietary restrictions and allergies, that their biggest, I guess, strength is consistency, because they do have the same food, which is really boring, but I know that I can get up in the morning and go to the dining hall and be able to find something that's gluten-free, whether it's a piece of bread or Chex. But when I go up to the workers and I ask about maybe soy yogurt or soy milk or gluten-free pasta, they smile and they nod their heads and then walk away, and it never happens. So I would say that probably the biggest negative would be change, greatest positive, resistance to change.
I would say, I'll try to think of a strength while I talk about the weaknesses. But some of the weaknesses, I would say probably the prices, which is a pretty big thing that I get annoyed about. But also the taste. I like to make an analogy, and I've told this to each person I've met, and we've talked about the dining hall and everything, and no one has ever disagreed with me. And I make this analogy. Sodexo the food tastes a lot like the color gray looks. And if that, everyone says, after you think about it, everyone says that's 100% true, but it is. It doesn't, a lot of the things, you eat it, it's just there, but it doesn't taste like anything. And it just doesn't have any flavor. And if you're eating it if you're living here 16 weeks, if you're going here for 4 years, you want to have like food that actually tastes good, and you want to like, so that's one. And then biggest strength, I would say personally, I like to see some of the workers that they hire, some of them are special needs, and I noticed in the marketplace today, some of them were, and it's nice to see that they're giving opportunities to people that don't necessarily have opportunities in other fields and other professions, and it's nice to see that those people can still work and still have a job and still support themselves. So that's something that I noticed today and actually really liked. So.
Yeah, I'll start with the strength. They kind of try a little bit. I mean, they don't pull through, but they try. They do have a vegan station. It's a good start, and they just have to actually get food there. But what else do they have? They have like a little square of halal food, which is kind of sad actually. But they have a kosher state, you know. So they try to like implement these things. It's like egg for effort. But their weaknesses, I'll keep it short. I can be here quite a while. But as we all know, the prices, yeah, the food tastes kind of bad for what we're paying. We're paying quite a bit actually to be eating on campus, and you shouldn't be ready to rush off campus because the food sucks. So I mean, that'd be nice to actually have some good food that tastes good.
guess I'll open it up to you guys. Is there anything you'd like to share? Things that concern you? Any questions you may want to ask that I could bring to management or try to answer myself? Yeah.
Is there a union for the employees?
Yes, that I do know. So there is an employee union. As far as maltreatment and complaints, actually when I was at the public presentation for their ideas, this did come up, and a family that I think was a family of activists stood up and started saying, how do you feel about the fact that you support companies that use sweatshop practices? And apparently Reynolds Packard or some company like that provides our plastic utensils basically uses sweatshops with their workers. Long days, low wages, really bad working conditions, pollution. And Sodexo had given them an award for 12 years of great service or something like that. And these people actually have like 30 lawsuits from the past 2 years. And this award mysteriously disappeared from Sodexo's website the morning of this presentation. And this guy had a binder and was like, your award disappeared, but I have it right here. And got very intense about this. So I know there is a union. They will not tell you if there's complaints that they've had. They will not disclose that information. Personally, what I've seen in working for Sodexo, just as a student employee, I saw sexual harassment. I saw spitting in food. I saw just plain disregard for human respect. I'm really sorry for those of you who eat the food. Yeah, that's why I got allergies. I'm sorry. So I would say personally that there are problems. I don't know how effective the union is, but that's something that the workers would have to try to strive for. Is there anything else that anyone has they'd like to share?
Why
Yeah.
is CIW the only dining hall that opens before 8, despite there being 8 a.m. classes?
That's a very good question because I have all 8 a.m.s.
I do.
And I do get hungry. I'm not sure. I think maybe because I think they have Tillman's. You can grab a bagel there. I mean, the more you keep something, I think there's only a select few that have the discipline to wake up before that class to get food. So I think it probably costs them more to open up early than the profit they make to feed us that early. So I think it might just be lack of profit and laziness. That would be my guess for that. But anyone else have any other things they'd like to share? All right, so Melissa and Corey, do you want to come up here? So we all put this together. This is part of our grade for this class. I'm also doing it as an academic program for Binghamton Town Council. I encourage you all to fill out those surveys and hand them in to us. And they'll be given directly to Sodexo management. I want you to let your voice be heard to be the change you want to see. I hope this has been an informational and interesting event that encourages you all to become involved with campus change. Thank you for coming. Thank you to all of us who have contributed to this event, and thank you so much for the speakers coming, for your time, and thank you to those who withstood the whole night. Thank you so much. Have a great night. If there's any soda left, take it, please.